ومريم ابنة عمران التي أحصنت فرجها فنفخنا فيه من روحنا وصدقت بكلمات ربها وكتبه وكانت من القانتين.
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. All praise and adorations are due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We thank Him for making us to see this day. We beseech Him to send His blessings and mercies on the rest of mankind, Maulana Mustafa Muhammad, and on his households, his companions, and on us all Muslims to the day of reckoning. Dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I am Mutia Juma Olagunju. I welcome you all to our show, The Virtuous Woman. Inshallah, on today's program, we have another interesting, informative, educative topic, and that is divorce in Islam. What is the perspective Islam has on divorce? And very many other more. Find out as you meet my guest when we come back.
إن المسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات والقانتين والقانتات والصادقين والصادقات والصابرين والصابرات والخاشعين والخاشعات والمتصدقين والمتصدقات والصائمين والصائمات والحافظين فروجهم والحافظات والذاكرين الله كثيرا والذاكرات أعد الله لهم مغفرة وأجرا عظيما.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. You're all welcome back to the show, The Virtuous Woman program. I have in the studio with me an erudite scholar, Alhaja Bushra Ali. Alhaja Bushra Ali is a tutor in one of the high schools in Lagos State. She will be talking to us on the topic divorce in Islam. Alhaja Bushra, you're welcome.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Please, ma'am, what is the Islamic perspective on divorce?
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. When we talk about divorce in Islam, it is one of those aspects that is permissible, but it is actually frowned at. But one thing about Islam is that Islam is a religion of reality. Actually, Islam supports marriage, a situation when man and woman come together. But in a situation when you find out that coming together will be injurious, will cause a lot of crisis, bring about a lot of problems to both parties. And all avenues have been tried in order to bring them together or to make them to live in peace. Islam allows each one of them to go their ways. So, and the word for divorce in Islam is talaq. Talaq is actually an Arabic word, and the meaning is to set free.
Okay.
So it means whenever a man and a woman, they find out they cannot live together peacefully, then they can set themselves free. And divorce in Islam can come through the man or through the woman.
Okay.
And one thing that must be noted, as I've said, is that the Prophet ﷺ said, of all the things permitted in law, divorce is the most hateful things in the sight of Allah. That is not something that you should play with. It's not something that we should joke with among ourselves, I've divorced you or whatever. But it's something that should be done in a very serious situation when there is no other way by which a man and a woman can act together, can live together
peacefully.
Then another one is the Prophet ﷺ advised that you marry and do not divorce. undoubtedly the throne of the beneficent shakes due to divorce.
Allah Akbar.
That if there is divorce, the throne of Almighty Allah shakes, making it to be a very serious thing in Islam. So Islam always wants a man and a woman to live together in peace as long as they are together, especially women. Islam enjoins us to have a lot of patience and to be able to persevere a lot in order for us to keep our marriages.
So if we are in the marriage and we just find out that there are a lot of things that we're not expecting to happen and they're happening, is that enough ground for any of the parties to say, oh, I don't want to do anything to do, I don't want to have anything to do with you again. Go your own way. I've divorced you.
Actually, just like I've said, there is need for serious situation before the issue of divorce can be taken. One thing about it is that when you talk about the issue of divorce, it's not when you see the slightest thing that you will say, I want to leave the marriage. There is need for serious cases, like maybe when a woman finds out that the man is not doing what is expected to do in terms of maybe upkeeping, and as long as the woman can actually cope with it and still be hopeful, if the man is not too aggressive, a woman can still adjust.
Okay.
Then another very serious case when divorce can be taken is when it affects one's life.
Okay.
If the man is the one that beats the wife and it causes a lot of injury to the wife, and the wife finds out that her life is not safe with the man, then he can seek for divorce. But when there are some cases that we can still settle, Islam allows that both of us should sit down and talk about it. And if we cannot talk about it, we call on our parents of both the male and the female, for them to come together and settle the case among them. Okay. And if all avenues have been exploited and there is no peace, then Islam allows that each one of them should go their ways.
Thank you very, very much. I was about to ask you that when you want to undertake divorce, does it have any specific arrangements? Is it done in an organized way, or you can just say you are no longer interested in each other and then you part? Does it have to go through a particular systematic way?
Now, when you talk about talaq in Islam, the first type of talaq is that which is revocable. It's a situation when a man, after studying the woman, find out they cannot live together. The man will pronounce the first talaq.
Okay. When
the woman is in a clean situation, that is not doing her menstruation.
Sorry, ma'am. How does the man pronounce divorce?
It can be written.
Okay.
It can be one-on-one, okay, telling the woman that I divorce you. Okay. That's the first one.
Okay.
So when the man says that, he does not go to the woman again until after the next menstruation. When the woman has been cleaned of the next menstruation, the man will now pronounce the second one. But it is allowed, and that is why it is referred to as revocable divorce. It is allowed for the man to go to the wife between that period, okay, of the first and the second divorce to make amendments. Yes, okay, to make amendments. If they decide to come together, then both of them can join together again and still become wife and husband.
So in essence, madam, the way we come around to have nikah, is it the same way, or how do we go about it? I'm still going back to the question I asked.
Normally,
how is it done?
When you talk about divorce, I've told you there are some steps.
Okay.
The first one is that when you find out there are differences between the two of you, you can call yourself and settle it. If you cannot settle it together, you call on both families. Okay. By the time you talk it over and it's not over, okay, then the next thing now is that if the man insisted he wants to divorce the woman, then they will now start counting. Okay. After the woman has been cleansed of her menstruation, the man will now pronounce the first. It may be between them, it may be in the presence of anybody, but once the family have decided, okay, they are convinced of the fact that families from both the wife and the husband. Once they are convinced that both of them cannot live together, then the man will now start the pronouncement.
Okay.
And the first one I've mentioned is that of revocable divorce, a situation when the man has pronounced divorce only twice. And if they decide to reconcile, they can still join together and become husband and wife, and they will live their life. That's the first one. Then the second one is irrevocable talaq. Irrevocable talaq involves 3 pronouncements in succession. The first one, this time, when the woman is free from her menstruation. The second one, if they don't come together within the first and the second, and the man is able to pronounce the third one, then it is referred to as irrevocable divorce. And before they can come together again as husband and wife, that woman should go and marry another man.
Wow.
And after getting married to another man, she will divorce again before getting back to the first husband. And one thing that must be noted here is that it should not be an arranged marriage. A situation when the woman will have arranged with the man, I want to go back to my first husband. The best thing is that I want to get married to you for the next 6 months. I want you to divorce me. This is not acceptable in Islam. No. She will marry normally, and if Allah wishes, they will divorce again. After that divorce, she now go back to the husband, and they will now have another nikah as if they are just getting married. And yes, and that is when the marriage can hold.
Wow.
So, and that is why we refer to it as irrevocable talaq.
Thank you so much, Hajia. I discovered in your statement that this divorce of a thing is a serious issue, and the stages are just very, very strict. And I think it is just to restrict us from falling into it. I want to ask, after the first 2 pronouncements, you said that they go back. Within that time, would the woman leave the husband's house, pack away, or what will be the condition at that period?
Under normal circumstance, what is there is that when you talk about divorce in Islam, it's different from the normal show that we see around here.
Okay.
A situation when a man will say, I'm fed up with you, and start throwing the property of the wife outside. Or the woman will just bring a cab or a bus one time and pack the whole thing in the house and went away. But when you talk about Islamic divorce, it means while the woman is there and the pronouncement is in progress, it is the man is responsible for the upkeep of the woman.
During that period?
During the Ida period. We refer to it as the Ida period, the period of waiting.
The period of waiting.
So the man is the one responsible. She's expected to be in this house, and he will take good care of her as long as he remains there. Until after the 3rd pronouncement, when he found out there is nothing between the 2 of them, that is when the woman will go to her house and find a place to live. But as long as she's still in the Ida period, the man is responsible.
Thank you very much, Hajia Bushra. Viewers at home, I hope you have learned a lot. We are not yet done with the topic. Inshallah, we'll go for a short break. When we come back, we'll talk on other issues under this very topic, divorce in Islam. Don't go away.
ولا تقربوا الزنا إنه كان فاحشة وساء سبيلا ولا تقتلوا النفس التي حرم الله إلا بالحق ومن قتل مظلوما فقد جعلنا لوليه سلطانا فلا يسرف في القتل إنه كان منصورا ولا تقربوا مال اليتيم إلا بالتي هي أحسن حتى يبلغ أشده وأوفوا بالعهد إن العهد كان مسؤولا وأوفوا الكيل إذا كلتم وزنوا بالقسطاس المستقيم ذلك خير وأحسن تأويلا ولا تقف ما ليس لك به علم إن السمع والبصر والفؤاد كل أولئك كان عنه مسؤولا ولا تمش في الأرض مرحا إنك لن تخرق الأرض ولن تبلغ الجبال طولا كل ذلك كان سيئه عند ربك مكروها.
You're welcome back to the show, The Virtuous Woman. We have been discussing divorce in Islam. Ajia Busho Ali, what legalizes divorce?
Now, when we talk about divorce in Islam, as I've said, there are so many things that can actually bring about divorce. The first one is when the upkeep of a woman, when you know that the man is able to fund the family, and rather than taking very good care of the family, naturally a man should be responsible for clothing, shelter, and feeding of the family. In a situation when the man is found wanting and the woman finds out that she cannot cope on her own, taking care of the children and taking care of herself while in that man's house, and she finds out that as long as she remains there, it will affect her, she may seek for divorce.
Okay, she has to be sure that the man has the means.
Yes.
But he ordinarily did not want to do.
There is no preparedness on the part of the man. Then another one is when the man maltreats the woman.
Okay.
In a situation when the man continuously beats her, continuously do a lot of things in order to make life difficult for her. Maybe the man will just go out and will not come back, and by the time he comes back, he will beat the hell out of her. A time when the woman will go out, and when the man comes in, he will lock her out. Whether she sleeps outside or she's attacked by anybody, she is less concerned. When the woman finds out that her life is in danger, then he can seek for divorce. Then another thing is if when a man decides to leave the woman, runaway husband. So normally, and the woman cannot trace the man in any way, and she has been there for some time, and she finds out she cannot cope again, it is a ground for divorce. And some other cases like that.
Please, ma'am, you talk about runaway husbands. This day you find out that some husbands will leave their wife, they go abroad. They tell the wife, I'm going out to look for source of living abroad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 years. The man is still there, and this woman is not able to even have contact with him. Will she continue in the marriage?
In Islam, it is allowed, and that is why when we talk about traveling abroad and making arrangement of marriage, the woman must be sure of where the man is going and what actually happens to her within a reasonable period of time. But by the time a man just keep a woman in suspense, just keeping her there, telling her, I'm coming right back, and at the end of the day you cannot hear anything about the man, then you find out the woman in Islam is allowed to loosen herself from that knot.
Okay.
Because normally the responsibility of a man and a woman as husband and wife is no more there, especially when there is no contact. If there is contact, if they are still communicating, the woman may be rest assured that something is in progress. But in a situation when the man remains incommunicado, a situation where you cannot hear anything from him, man, then Islam allows the woman to go away, and that will be done in consonance with the family of the husband.
Okay. So
letting them know her situation and the decision she has to take at that particular point in time.
So it can be done in absentia?
Yes.
All right. So can a woman also seek for divorce willingly?
Normally, just like I've said, when we talk about types of divorce in Islam, Islam gave the opportunity for men as well as for women.
Okay.
So
equal opportunity.
Yes. So because if the responsibility of seeking for divorce has been given to men alone, it will have been a sort of injustice on the part of the women. So a woman too has opportunity of seeking for divorce, especially when he finds out that the man is not actually doing what is expected to do. And the only thing that she has to do is that she has to return the dowry.
Okay.
By the time the divorce is coming from the woman will repay the dowry back to the man. And this one we can see from the life of the Prophet ﷺ. When a woman came to him and told the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that I hate the man I married and I want to seek for divorce. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked her, are you ready to return his orchard which he gave to you as the dowry? The woman said, even more. So, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, you don't need to give him more, but just return that which he has given you.
Exactly, dowry you are collected.
And that was how the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam separated the two of them. Because the woman, then another one is that where we have Islamic court,
okay,
a woman can go to court and seek for divorce.
All right.
So, and when the judge is convinced about the situation of the woman and find out that the only way for her is for her to get separated from the man, it will be granted.
Okay.
And at the same time, what holds there too is that she must return part of the dowry to the man as a compensation.
All right. This divorce thing that is an hateful thing in the sight of Allah, does it have any implication on the children between the husband and the wife, their offspring? Does it have any implication on them?
Now, when we look at divorce, and that is why Islam has made it to be the most hateful but permissible thing in Islam. As it is said, where two elephants fight, the grass suffer. The children of such marriage actually suffers. Because one thing is, the first thing that crop up is the custodianship of the children. If the children are still minors, the best thing is that they will give the guardianship to the mother.
Okay.
But what happens to them when the mother decides to remarry? Most of the time, men are not responsible to take up the responsibility of another person. So, and you find out the next thing that will be there is that they will decide to place the children in one family or the other, and the necessary care that should come up will not be there. And if the woman is not even remarried, where you have a man and a woman in the house, the effect of the man is always there. If the children want to misbehave and the woman says, let your father come, it's enough for a child or children to behave well, that I don't want my father to meet it. But by the time they know that it's only this woman here, then you find out many of them may turn to be misbehaving. And the same thing goes for the upkeep. There is no gainsaying that at the end of divorce, a man may be charged, gives also amount as upkeep for the children. But most men may not honor it. At the end of the day, the burden is on the women. And that makes many of these children to join bad gangs. Many of them who are children, who are girls, you see them moving with irresponsible boys, getting impregnated, getting infected, and most of the boys getting involved in cultism and all other things that will actually have a lot of bad effect in their lives.
Hajia, usually you have said a lot on this topic, and I hope my viewers have learned a lot too. She has told us that as parents we should try and persevere so that the implications, the bad implications, will be taken away from our children. She told us that when two elephants fight, the grass suffer. These children will suffer either ways, as she has explained to us this morning. I want us to wrap up this program up with this question, madam. If death occurs on any of the parties that are divorced, does any of them have a role to play? They have divorced, they have gone their separate ways, but death occurs on either. Because in our society today, we find people moving around, wants to go and have either period in this place, and she has divorced, but because the husband has died, that is a culture. Is it like that in Islam?
No, actually in Islam, once a man is separated from a woman, they don't have anything together again. So if the man died, the only thing that the woman owes the family is to go and greet them normally, just like any other person
would do.
So, but in a situation that we see today, that a woman will leave a man today, and after 3 or 4 years when the man died, he will leave that husband's house and go to the other man that he has left his house for so many years ago. and go there under the pretext of doing Ida is not Islamic. And because what happened to the husband that she has left his house to go to the dead man's house? What happened to the children, or what about the responsibility that she's expected to perform in the other house? So once there is divorce, it means everybody has gone their way and they don't owe any special thing to each other again, except when it concerns the children that binded them together. Maybe they want to do marriages, they want to do any other things that will bring them together.
Thank you so much, Alhaja Bushra Ali. I'm sure my viewers have really been informed and they've been educated, because I've also been educated on today's program. Dear viewers at home, on this note, we'd like to say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.
Today you become man and wife, fulfilling the sunnah as way of life. Today you'll find serenity. May your life be filled with sincerity. There is no happier day in your life than the virtue of being man and wife. There's joy without any end. Allah's blessing on this day does descend.